We're rolling. 40 years, 40 years, 40 years, 40 years, 40 years. Well, how many years? 40 years. Do you know what this is? 40 years in the making of Maybe Never. Release day is here. Finally. It is done. So we're going to talk about the writing and the recording and the production and the music videos. So please stick with us as we talk about how three old farts made a record and to date didn't quite get it into the charts. So it's taken 40 years of writing and arranging and producing and mixing our music, and finally we have something to show for it. So why 40 years? Well, life gets in the way, whether it's moving for careers or having children and family and losing family, moving houses, renovating houses, COVID. All these things kind of get in the way of you being able to spend the time in doing what you really love doing, which in our case is making music. And I suppose for me, what retirement has brought is the time, not just the physical time, but the headspace time. I used to run a business, and when it was really busy I'd be working 16, 17 hour days, 7 days a week, and you just didn't have the energy, the time, the inclination to pick up an instrument and play it or write. Or if you did have the energy and enthusiasm, you kind of ran out of time. So it's been a long road, and who would have guessed that 40 years ago, when we were rehearsing in Paul's flat, that we'd be here today in a pretty well equipped recording studio. So how did we get here? What was the initial instigator of our journey? Well, of course the music, that's always first and foremost, but I think for me it was our first venture into a recording studio, and that was a recording studio no longer exists, called Input Studios, which was the studio of the Comsat Angels here in Sheffield. And its claim to fame was that the mixing desk they had was the mixing desk that Mike Oldfield recorded Tubular Bells on. And we managed to produce this, our first cassette, 3 tracks, very 80s. And that was my first foray into recording music. And I think that was where I then got the passion, the love for knobs and faders and equipment and that production side of recording. So having got to the point where we'd recorded our first bit of music, unfortunately Ross, the bass player, had to move to London for career. So although we didn't do many, that was kind of the end of our gigging career, although Paul and Keith have gone on to do other gigs. For me, it was more than about trying to establish a home recording studio, which is what we did. And the studio has grown and changed, and we've moved house and got bigger space. So that's kind of how we got to where we are today in terms of recording. But what have we achieved? The first production that we had was this cassette of On the Rocks. And then we set to write and produce an EP. And we'd got lots of material. We selected what we thought were the best 5 songs, set to work in recording those. So we got some of our friends in, bass players, sax players, singers. So all that has resulted in this, our first EP, Timed Out. Now this is available in hard copy from Bandcamp for the princely sum of £7.50 or £5 just for the downloads. However, postage, holy schmoly. To post this from the UK to the UK is going to cost about £3. To post it to Europe is about £6. To post it to America is about £8, $10. But to Australia, it's going to cost about £15. That's about 28 Australian dollars. So in conjunction with producing the EP, we needed to find a way to establish an audience, a fan base. The traditional route of gigging wasn't really available to us. We're getting on a bit, unloading and loading vans full of gear. It just really wasn't for us. So that traditional way of creating a fan base wasn't really an option for us. So that was the idea of this channel, to chart, to track the production of one of the tracks, Hard Times, but also everything else that was involved in putting together an EP and the music videos. But it's turned out that the better performing videos have been more of the tutorial type videos on how to set a static mix or a mixing template, or the reverb setup that we use, or the mastering process. And the behind the scenes videos, the human interest bit, haven't performed anywhere near as well. So it's kind of put us in a bit of a dilemma as to what the future of this channel is going to be. I can do more of the technical sort of masterclass type videos, but to be honest, I feel a bit of a fraud in that there are much better qualified individuals on YouTube that can show you and teach you this kind of stuff. I can show you what I do and how I do it, but I have my limitations. We're just about to upgrade the studio again. I could do a video on the upgrades. I've never actually done a video on the equipment we've got, like a studio tour. But again, there are so many videos out there of everybody's studio. They kind of all do the same thing. We kind of have all the similar sort of equipment. But if that's something that's of interest, then please put a comment below. So our next project is recording the album, and it is our intention to chart, to plot, to follow that process. But if there is any particular part of that process that you guys want to see, again, please leave a comment below. We also have a sister channel, which is Maybe Never. And the purpose of Maybe Never is to host all our music videos. So when you first publish any music and it's uploaded to the streaming services, only then can you go and create your artist channels and your music channels. We wanted all that in place before we released our first single, Hard Times. So we used an instrumental track that we'd written called Tides In For Good, which is actually a song, but we just excluded the lyrics and the melody. So that was our first music video to establish the channel. The second one was Hard Times. So as some of you might have seen in previous videos, we put together a team to film a music video to go with Hard Times. That was a big production, 2 days in a theatre, we had a full film crew, lighting. So yeah, that was a big full-on production and was relatively expensive to produce.
New ideas won't bring fresh air. Stable motion, signal danger. Writing lives off beyond repair. That takes us careful steps.
So we're highly delighted with the results of that music video. There is a previous video behind the scenes of making that music video, and Claire and her team did a fantastic job. The third video for Making Up Your Mind was quick and dirty. We didn't have a budget. It actually cost us the price of a pork sandwich to feed Vernon at lunchtime, and I did the filming on this camera. However, because the skill of the camera operator was limited, we had to disguise some of the jerky camera movements by stylizing the music video.
Tonight we'll tell if life goes to hell. Let's pretend that everything's not a mess. That the love we make tonight will make me feel alright. Until tomorrow.
The lesson I learned from that experience was that we needed a gimbal for the camera, because trying to keep a camera steady whilst walking backwards is an impossibility. But that's kind of the part of the issue that we have, in that we kind of need this channel to get to the stage where it can be monetized, so that any income that is earned from the channel can be reinvested into that kind of kit, because a gimbal for this camera is like £300 or £400. And that leaves the fourth music video, which has been uploaded today with the release of the EP, which is for the fifth track on the EP, Time Will Tell. And that is a dance compilation of stock footage that has been lovingly put together by my better half, Mrs. H.
As I look back to those distant days, believing I'd not succeed, trapped in reflection of my many failures, the self-belief.
Of the 5 tracks that are on the EP, that leaves just 2 more music videos to do. And I was having dinner with Claire last night, who was the director of Hard Times, and we're going to look at trying to put together something for the 4th track on the EP, Can't Understand It. Watch this space. Hopefully that should be coming out within the next month or so. So one of the things that has come to light that I just can't get my head around is Spotify. Obviously, when we distribute our music, it's uploaded to Spotify, we have our artist page on there, and it all looks great. But if you put a link from our Facebook page to the track on Spotify, and people click that link on the phone and are not subscribed to Spotify, it doesn't play the track. It plays a different track. And you can't skip to the point of the track. And I don't understand that, in that we're trying to bring people across to the Spotify platform to listen to our music, but it's playing somebody else's music. So immediately they just go back to Facebook. So I would love somebody to explain that to me and explain the sense of that. On a PC, or if you're watching through a smart TV, then yes, you can go and listen to that track directly. So it's this confusion as to why you can't do that on your phone. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but I haven't worked it out. What's next? Well, we've talked about upgrading the computer, and we would hope that that would last us at least the next 10 years, and by which time the other 2 old farts will be in the 70s. So who knows where we'll be in terms of our ability to write, record and produce music. We've talked about the fact that we're going to be recording the album, and hopefully we're going to be able to invite more people to be involved in the recording sessions on those tracks. In the short term, we're hopefully still going to be promoting the singles and the EPs. Please go check out our sister channel, Maybe Never. There should be now 4 music videos on there to enjoy. So I've left a link below for that. Go check it out. And of course, along the way, there have been so many people that have helped us and contributed And in the previous video, and I'll leave a link in the description below, we run through all those people. But a huge thank you to everybody that's helped get us to where we are. And of course, a huge thank you to you guys for sticking with us. The channel is not a huge channel. We're about 800 subscribers at time of recording, and we've had about 50,000 views. But we've had some lovely feedback. It's all been very positive, and it's nice to know that there are people out there that are interested in these three old farts and what we're doing and how we're doing it. So please do go to our sister channel, Maybe Never. Go watch the videos. Please subscribe to that channel as well, and as the new music videos come out, you'll get notified of those. Of course, we're hoping that the Maybe Never music channel will grow as our music catalogue grows, and new releases will be uploaded onto that site. So yes, we'll carry on documenting what we're doing, how we're doing it, and hopefully you guys will stick with us and carry on following our journey. So on that note, I'd like to thank you for following, thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see you again on the next one.